The Maldives come as close to a water world as anywhere on this planet. Necklaces of almost 2,000 tiny islands tossed over a 600-mile stretch of the Indian Ocean. Yet this little place, miles from nowhere, with a population approaching 400,000 people, is now at the center of the climate change debate.
We are a frontline state in global warming and in this conflict, in a sense.
The Maldives president, Mohammed Nasheed, has become the designated hitter for the cause.
We are in conflict with nature, and to fight it, or when nature comes at us, we would be the first people to face the brunt of it.
The Maldives' biggest asset is its biggest liability. They are low-lying islands with perfect coral sand beaches. But no place here is higher than 7 feet 10 inches above sea level. 80% of the land is 3 feet or less above the encroaching waves. And the waves are encroaching. They certainly did during the 2004 tsunami. And the UN's latest climate change study predicts that as a result of global warming, sea levels may rise by 2 more feet this century. Other studies using newer data predict an even higher rise.
We've had it. There's no debate, there's no question. If it's the upper limits, we've really had it.
The only way to get around the Maldives is on a fleet of seaplanes that ferry tourists to the sun and sand resorts. But the sea, which has drawn people here, and which has given the Maldives everything it has, tourism lately, and fishing since the dawn of time, the sea is now threatening to rise up and take it all away. That's why President Nasheed has gone to such desperate measures to dramatize the threat. Measures like holding a cabinet meeting underwater. This is what his country will look like, he says, if there's no deal to reduce the greenhouse gases that are warming the planet.
Well, that's the bottom line, isn't it? Underwater. That's where we will end up.
There's something about the Maldives that lends itself to dramatic gesture. Even the least bad scenario for sea level rise would have the place looking like this. Worst predictions would have the place looking like this, or worst of all, like this. In fact, the waters don't have to rise to cause damage. They just have to continue to get warmer. Already, an intense warming event a decade ago killed off the coral reefs that protect the islands, and the ocean currents began to wash some of them away. The reefs are still recovering, but people like marine biologist Anke Hofmeister, who's been watching the process for 5 years, wonder if they're living on borrowed time.
Enjoy it while you can. Come to the Maldives. One tour operator actually mentioned that in its slogan.
Is that right?
Come to the Maldives while you still can, while they're still there.
And this is where the problem is coming from, the melting glaciers of the world's ice caps. In Greenland, the biggest glacier at Ilulissat, halfway up the country's west coast, is now calving mountain-sized icebergs out to sea at twice the rate it was 10 years ago. NASA imagery shows how the glacier has melted back over the years and how that melting has recently speeded up. How quickly these icebergs break off the glacier and how fast they float out to sea and melt will determine how quickly sea levels rise across the planet. This isn't theory, this is the real consequence of climate change in handy frozen packets. The meltback is forcing Greenlanders like Johannes Mathiasen to do what the Inuit people have always done, adapt. He can't hunt for seals in the winter because there's less sea ice, but he can make a living taking intrepid tourists on sled dog trips.
Extreme Greenland!
This is extreme Greenland. The 55,000 Greenlanders have a quiet little secret. While the ice cap melt-off has been speeding up, so has their economy. Mining companies are lining up to develop newly exposed resources, and there are indications of large oil reserves now accessible offshore. There's a building boom in the capital town of Nuuk. Johannes Mathiasen laughs at the suggestion he's about to become a sled dog millionaire, but you get the sense he's looking forward to the future. Which is more than you can say about the people of the Maldives. Here, there's a sense that time is not on their side.
A lot of us would die. Whoever who survives might be floating somewhere. We are really actually talking about our own grandchildren. And if you cannot provide for them, there's very little point of having a government now.